Welcome to another edition of Carton's Cubicle Concert Series. Thrilled to have the Zombies here. Colin and Roth, thank you so much for being here, guys. Appreciate
thank
it.
you for having us on.
I want to go all the way back to the start. I want to go back to 1961, if I have my dates correct. You guys know each other before the Zombies are created, or you meet at like a pub, you have a couple brews, and next thing you know, we're singing songs and we're the Zombies.
We were too young to go into a pub when we got together. We met outside a pub, and we didn't know one another. We both went to schools in the same city, but we didn't actually know one another.
15 years old.
Yeah. So I met Rod outside this pub for the first time, and
I knew there was drinking involved. Whether it's legal or illegal,
Not
I
until
knew
that evening.
there's someone drinking beer somewhere in the story, right?
well, we would have liked to have been, that's for sure. But
So
I know we were pretty much strangers when we got together. And the first rehearsal, Rod was the lead singer, I was the rhythm guitarist, and then we had a coffee break, and Rod went over to a little broken down old upright piano, and he played Nut Rocker by B. Bumble and the Stingers. And it absolutely took my breath away. You know, I could play like 3 or 4 chords on the guitar. He was playing this sort of masterpiece. And I went over to him, and I didn't know him, so I sort of said, whatever your name is, whatever your name is.
He gets it right most of the time.
Right,
Yes,
well,
after 50 years, I know.
You're allowed
But
to make a mistake once in a while.
No,
All
I
right,
said,
Steve.
That sounds fantastic. You've got to play keyboards in this band. And Rod said, no, it's a rock and roll band. We want 3 guitars. And we left it at that. Later in the rehearsal, I was just singing to myself in the corner. And he said, hey, if you'll be lead singer in the band, I'll play keyboards.
He sounded great. He was doing a Ricky Nelson song, and I thought, my God, I had no idea he could sing like that.
Neither did I.
So it got reversed.
Yes.
Like within the first hour.
First
hour. And that is
And that was the
basically
band.
that is basically the Zombies.
And do you remember the first song you guys ever did?
It was Malaguena.
And just you would play no words, obviously. You were just
No,
playing,
this is
everyone was just playing
instrumental.
instrumental.
Yeah.
That was it.
Wow. And Elvis was the inspiration for all
Jesus.
of it.
I just liked classical music up to that point, and then Jim played me Elvis singing Hound Dog, and it turned my whole
I was
world
going to ask you, what
around.
was the song? It was Hound Dog?
Oh, man.
So how relevant was American black music?
It
for
was
you guys?
everything, because the thing is that out of Elvis, very quickly, I discovered people like the Big Mama Thornton, who sang Hound Dog in the first
Sure.
place, and that was the first black blues I'd ever heard. And I was knocked out with it. And then lots of people were coming on the scene at that time. It was a wonderful, explosive
Because it's
time for music.
pre-Motown.
Pre-Motown.
But a lot of guys, like I was talking to Simon Kirk,
Yeah.
and he said the influence of black soulful R&B
everything.
gospel music changed really British music as opposed to
Absolutely.
the British invasion changing American music.
The first time I ever heard Ray Charles was around that time, and he blew me away. I heard an album called Ray Charles in Person, which was recorded with 1 microphone, and it sounds fantastic. And I used to go home every night and listen to that late at night before going to bed, you know. So, yeah, it was a great period of discovery of black music, and with jazz as well, because I got very turned on to the Miles Davis group of around
Sure.
1958 with Coltrane and Cannonball Adderley, and then Bill Evans came in, which I thought was the most wonderful pianist, and I still listen to him all the time now, you know.
So the Beatles to you guys were what?
Wonderful. They were revolutionary.
I would think the opposite, based on your background was classical,
Oh, man.
jazz, and the Beatles were
they
real
started
poppy.
everything, and in particular, their success opened the doors for all other British artists. Before that, British artists weren't particularly in demand, you know, on a world scale.
They hit just after we formed in '62, because it was '64 over here.
Right, so no Beatles, no Zombies. Is
Well,
that
no,
fair?
Not in America.
We'd already formed.
Yeah, but
before the Beatles.
I mean, success-wise, you guys never would have been sent here.
Not in America,
Had the
no.
Beatles not paved the way.
the British invasion wouldn't have happened, so all those acts probably would not have been successful.
And the crazy thing was that having been blown away by Elvis, as we all were, I mean, we're not alone in that. I mean, Lennon
Sure.
was the same, everything. This mythical character from this world that seemed a universe apart, and the culture difference between the two nations at that time was huge, you know, with the cars, with everything, in the way people lived. It just seemed like something we could never aspire to. American music was king. It was just wonderful. And then just 8 years later, I'd written a song which became #1 in the States. We were playing with people like Benny King, the Drifters, and all the black groups that we absolutely adored. And we later found out Elvis had She's Not There on his jukebox. So it turned around full circle just in 8 years. And it was surreal for us.
Why don't we play it? Does that sound good?
Okay, we can do that.
She's not there? Does
Yeah,
that sound... Why don't we get going since it's topical right now?
Okay.
Okay, sounds
The
good to me.
Zombies, She's Not There.
No one told me about her, the way she lied. No one told me about her, how many people cried. But it's too late to say you're sorry. How would I know? Why should I care? Please don't bother trying to find her. She's not there. Well, let me tell you about the way she looked, the way she acted, the color of her hair. Her voice was something cool, her eyes were clear and bright, but she's not there. No one told me about her. What could I do? No one told me about her, though they all knew. But it's too late to say you're sorry. How would I know? Why should I care? Please don't bother trying to find her. She's not there. But let me tell you about the way she looked, the way she acted, the color of her hair. Her voice was something cool, her eyes were clear and bright, but she's not there. But it's too late to say you're sorry. How would I know? Why should I care? Please don't bother trying to find her. She's not there. Let me tell you about the way she looked, the way she acted, the color of her hair. Her voice was something cool, her eyes were clear and bright, but she's not there.
So I want to go back to what you said about, that song's in Elvis's jukebox. Now, have you ever met Elvis?
No. But we went to his house. We went on in '65. We said, let's go and visit Elvis. So
Yeah, because anyone could do that.
so we wandered up to his house. None of the big building round there at the
Really?
time.
And this is Graceland, the whole
Yeah,
bit.
no security. Just knocked on the...
Right.
No, we went through the gates, just walked up the drive, knocked on the door, and this guy came to the door,
Right.
which was Vernon, we sort of later found out. And we said, hi, we're the Zombies from England. Is Elvis in? And,
That's awesome.
and he said, no. He said, but Elvis loves you guys, but he's away filming at the moment. He'll be real sorry to have missed you. And I thought, well, he doesn't know who we are.
Right.
But wonderfully hospitable. And he said, have a look around, So we felt a bit, intimidated.
So you're in Elvis's house.
Yeah.
Elvis ain't there.
No.
And you now realize that Elvis is a fan.
And we didn't believe it. So we had a look around and just very, very quickly, and then wandered around the grounds because we felt as if we shouldn't
Did
be
you
there. Really.
steal anything?
Only nothing of any importance.
Like a
at all.
fork, a knife. He's not going to miss that. I have Elvis's fork.
There was a Mustang that we
That would have been
we
nice.
managed to get away with, but
And not a fork or a knife.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
you just figured take the car.
Yeah.
So you guys, so good.
Yeah, so it was many years later in the 90s when I was telling this story, just like we're telling you now, and this Irish DJ stopped me. It was a telephone interview, and he said, I can't believe you didn't know Elvis had 3 of your songs on his jukebox. We were just completely flabbergasted, actually.
That's awesome. Well, who always was there one musical act or person that you played with, played for, opened for on the same bill as, where you were in awe of who the person was and yet got to play the same stage with them at any point?
I don't think we were in awe of anybody, but we enjoyed very much playing with The Who a few times, Cole, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. We played with the Beach Boys, which was great.
Yeah.
Patti LaBelle was a real experience.
It was.
She was wonderful.
And a lot of the black artists that we played with on various bills, Dick Clark, and also...
Yeah.
Wasn't there a point, and tell me if I have this wrong, didn't you release everything at one point? Like every recording you had ever done, you went back, took all the masters,
Zombie
put them
Heaven
out,
box set,
and
yeah.
you put everything out there.
Well, it wasn't us, it was Alec Palau who did a wonderful job.
And did you? I wondered if you liked that, because I know there's probably a lot of stuff you wish people never heard because you didn't like it.
Because what he did, it was like somebody pulling a curtain back when I heard that, because he sourced all the original master tapes. He used that there are some, because everything was so much mono in those early days, and the version of She's Not There that was a #1 hit in Cashbox and almost #1 in Billboard as well, was a mono version, because on the mix of 4 tracks down to 1, we overdubbed an extra drum part, and that was very hip. And nobody hears that now on the stereo versions, but on the mono version, and Alec knows that absolutely inside out. So he put the single version, that was the mono version, on there. He used on Odyssey and Oracle, there's a Chris White song called This Will Be Our Year, which has brass on it that was mixed down on the mix. And so he makes that the mono track. He understood everything about it, sourced the original tapes. It was just beautiful to put together.
I imagine that when you guys heard all that stuff, it was probably like you hadn't thought about a certain song in 30, 40 years, and then to hear it again, I imagine brought it right back. You're back in the room, right?
Well, it does, but I mean, I can't say that I've listened to all of it. I'm not very good at listening to stuff that we've done, but the bits that I've listened to are great. And I tell you, there's one track that no one can find. We did a really quite classy demo of The Temptations' My Girl, because it wasn't a hit in the UK. And because we were traveling in the States all the time, we thought, let's record that. And just at the last second, we were actually going to our producer to play him this demo of My Girl.
Sure.
Otis Redding released it in the UK, and he had a big hit with it. So we were weeks away from recording and releasing that as a single, and no one can find that demo. It's the one thing that's not on the box set.
Do we have any idea where it is?
No.
Why don't we pretend this is a great venue? You want to do another song?
It is a great venue.
Let's do one of the new ones from the new album.
Whatever you'd like.
And this is called Edge of the Rainbow.
Edge of the Rainbow.
And sometimes when you're walking that long, lonely road, seems like nothing is able to light below. From the edge of the rainbow, you see the light coming through. And sometimes you're feeling just heartache and pain, and it seems there's nothing outside except the rain. From the edge of the rainbow, you see the light coming through. Listen to each line, some rain must fall. I just know there's too much in mine. You gotta be strong, keep moving on. I know there's something better waiting there down the line. I know you had so much trouble in mind, but at last that trouble is in its decline. From the edge shining through.
Awesome. So that was Edge of the Rainbow. That was great. I appreciate you guys playing that very much.
Great, thank you.
Last couple things. Your legacy. It's got to be important to you. When someone says either your name or the name of the Zombies, what do you want the rest of that sentence to be?
Well, I'd like them to look back and think that we did something always for the right reasons, in the sense that it's not that we didn't want to make money, but money's great, but we always, first of all, try to get excited about the music. We didn't try and hang on the coattails of any fashion that was going on. And in the short term, I think that often meant that we didn't get an easy hit record because we weren't just doing what was really fashionable. But in the long term, I think that's one of the reasons, I mean, what do I know? But I think that's one of the reasons why even today young people can hear stuff we did 50 years ago and find a relationship to it. They can actually relate to it. And I think that's fantastic. And that's the only way we know how to work. And with the new album, we've done exactly the same thing. And we try and, get that honest thing across. We're still completely energized by what we do and the idea of creating things. That's what turns us on more than anything else. And I'd like people to remember us as doing always the musical things for the right reasons, I think.
Same? Just say.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I was just going to say, I just hope people realise that we always gave it everything we got.
Yeah.
And as Rod said, for the right reasons. We love playing music. And that's what, so many people nowadays, they want to be famous. That thought never crossed our mind. We just wanted to play music and nothing's changed. We love to play. And that's why at this time in our lives, we're out there touring more now than we were in the 60s.
Well, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you.
Cheers. Been great. Thank you
All right,
so much.
the Zombies in the Cubicle.